Esprit de corps means spirit of the body and is often referred to a sense of camaraderie, both inside and outside of warfare. It is essential to an individual's being and team cohesiveness. What we're going to do is ask the question, how is your esprit de corps, your spirit of the body, as we take this subject into the light? So how is your spirit of the body? First approach we're going to look at is the outside-in approach. Control belongs to other external factors. You are constantly bombarded in this approach. Maybe it's your relationship, your finances, money. Maybe it's alcohol that you're dependent on. You can't forgive yourself or others. You lost your job possibly in this approach. Possibly you have some baggage from a past abuse or bullying. You're not in control. Your mental health is your primary factor in this approach. Your thoughts are under attack. Attacking your mental health, it can lead to a retreat. It can lead to withdrawal. It can lead to surrender. It bleeds over into the other spiritual health components, your physical and your social health, with that isolation, that withdrawal. It might be difficult to reach you in this approach. You become an isolationist and a reclusiveness. On the other hand, the outside-in approach turns into the inside-out approach. You are in control. It is your destiny. It is your plan. You seek help. You walk away from that bad relationship. You seek financial peace. You maybe seek an advisor. You get some counseling and some treatment for that alcohol or drug dependency. You do forgive yourself and you forgive others, even though it is hard sometimes. You get a better job. You take that crappy job that you had and you got lost and you got fired, you get a better job. You report those situations where there is abuse and you stand up to bullies. Your thinking determines your experiences in life because you are in control. Your spiritual health and your mental health are partners in this approach. You don't retreat. You don't retreat. You stand your ground. You call for backup and you seek help. Seek help. This approach feeds into the other pillars, the physical and the social pillars. You will never take my freedom in this approach.
And tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
In this approach, you have self-transcended all the external outside forces. This is not the external outside-in approach, it's the inside-out approach. You can watch these things fall away like Neo in the Matrix.
No.
Let's turn it now to some tools that we can use. Let's look at the resilient response. You get attacked. All right, you got your countermeasure to that attack, and it equals your results. You're not always in control of how you get attacked. What you are in control of in these three letters is your counter. You can't always control the results. You can influence the results. What do you actually have control of? Your counter. So let's take a look at your counter. You got attacked, you can't control, you can plan for it, you can predict it, but sometimes it's surprise! But then you have your counter, you have control, you have ownership, you have a choice, it is your behavior. You counter to achieve the best results, you don't counter to achieve scorched earth. And then you have your results, it is determined by how you counter. You want a better results, plan for a better counter. Life has many predictable and unpredictable attacks. The key is to plan an effective countermeasure that will result in minimal damage and optimal results. Let's move now to the strategic counter. Your strategic counter can either be disciplined or it can be a typical response, above or below standard response. The disciplined response is typically planned, considered, ordered, and your typical response is automatic, mechanical, and opposition oftentimes. Discipline response, it can be learning, resilient, strategery, if you remember Bushism.
In fact, we are almost out of time, so I will instead ask each candidate to sum up in a single word the best argument for his candidacy. Governor Bush?
Strategery.
So I had dinner with Lorne Michaels, the head of Saturday Night Live, and he said, I put a great speechwriter on you, and he came up with strategery. And I said, wait a minute, I said strategery.
Strategery can be analytic, proactive, and it can also be a challenging approach. It is a lot more times more difficult to have that disciplined response. Typically, your response can often be shortcut. It can be that first emotional burst out of your mouth.
Nice day, huh?
Yeah. Shove it up your ass!
Jeez, you okay?
I'm sorry. I have Tourette's syndrome, and it causes me to have these uncontrollable outbursts.
It can be routine, it can be habit, it can be retaliation. You might get embarrassed in a meeting, somebody attacks you, and then you feel like you've got to retaliate. That is the typical below standard response, and sometimes it can be fake. And the discipline, let's go over some scenarios here. First one, we've got somebody cuts you off in traffic. That never happens, right? Your typical response would be give them your best one finger salute, right? Or you can do nothing because it really doesn't matter. You keep moving, you stay your course, you get to your destination just fine without flicking them off. Next one, your boss informs you of some bad news. This one happened to us. Our family, our wife was pregnant, getting ready to have a kid. We were doing some home repair and maintenance. The whole roof was cut out, and boom, boss gives us some bad news about the termination of the company. You got no job. So you either, typical below the line response here would be cuss your boss, you never liked them anyway, storm out, make a huge mess. Other discipline response, which we took, we packed our things, went home and started building a resume, and I started working on fixing that hole in the roof. And the third and worst scenario I've got is you walk in on them with somebody else. Ooh, that's a tough one.
Uh-oh.
Your response below standard would be get your hands on them, they've got it coming, it'll probably put you in jail. Your discipline response would be press pause, think, get your mind right, process it, and you turn and walk out because they were no good for you anyway. Stages of grief here change and other. You typically have your shock and denial phase. You might dip below the line in some of these scenarios. Maybe you do get angry and you get frustrated and you do say a few choice words, and you start thinking, hey, maybe I'm the problem, maybe it's me, and you start thinking about options. Okay, maybe I can get back with them. You probably don't want to do that. What you don't want to do is dip down into falling star mode. This is never an option. It is always a temporary problem. You don't want to fix a temporary problem with a permanent, unreversible solution. That's not going to work. And at the end of the day, ride the roller coaster of life. Don't get off here. Don't get off in the middle. Never get off down here. You are better off. You ride it. You get to the end. You're fine. You are much better off in the end. These are the typical stages of grief, change, and other. You have your denial phase. You're avoiding, you're confused, maybe you're shocked, you have fear. You're acting like, this is totally fine. Nothing to see here. So then you move to the anger phase. You're frustrated, you're irritated, possibly you're stressed. You've got anxiety, and maybe you've got a little bit of hate in there. Keep moving. You move to the guilty phase, self-blame, what if only. You start playing scenarios in your head. Then possibly you move into the depression zone. You get overwhelmed, you're helpless, you're hostile, you're flight withdrawal. Definitely get help in this area. This is the most difficult one to go through. Your spiritual health is pivotal in the pit. Oftentimes this is where you call out for spiritual help, in the pit.
Having reached a place where I had absolutely nothing to lose, I prayed, and I prayed desperately. And for me, that was a turning point.
Keep moving though. Bargaining. You'll move to the bargaining zone, struggle for meaning and purpose, and you'll reach out for help. Definitely reach out for help. Talk to somebody, tell them the story. Keep riding out the storm. There are better skies ahead. Finally, you'll move to the acceptance phase. Accept it. There are better options. Plan for that future. Keep moving. Move on. You got this.
And what happened after that is a miracle in its own right. I feel connected to something higher and greater than myself. I feel my zest for life is back.
Discipline resilience. This is managing resilience with planning, strategy, and purpose. It's what the doctor ordered. Start with DR1 here. If you have a situation, you have an attack, stop all action. You think, you gain perspective of that action. Give yourself a filter, a barrier. If you're getting assaulted, getting attacked, you run behind, you duck and cover. Give yourself lots of time and lots of distance from anything harmful. Finally, it's like the Alice in Chains song, check your brain. Seek help, get assistance. If it's not right, if your brain, your mental health is not right, move back, get your help, move back, press pause, think, gain perspective, and move back here, eventually plan forward movement. Finally, move it. DR3, move it, face it, take the optimal actions, use reinforcement, get your help here. We always need reinforcements when we're under attack. Execute your plan that you planned in D2. D4, adapt and move, adapt and modify. Be flexible, resilient management applies in this section. And then your change and risk management. Revise, flex, revise that plan so you can make a difference. From DR4, adapt and modify, move to make a difference. DR5, don't attack somebody else. Don't make your attack become somebody else's attack. Give them exceptional service, approach, listen, and coach. And then DR6, learn, fine tune, build your 4 healthy pillars. Your 4 healthy pillars, your mental health, physical health, spiritual health, social health. Learn skills to improve, and then finally move to training others in all these areas. Switching gears now to zero harm. Do you believe zero harm is possible? If you've planned a vacation and you finally get on that airplane and go into your destination, you ask the co-pilot and pilot if they believe in zero harm. If they say anything other than yes, do not get on that airplane. I have taken aviation safety. Yes, I know statistics. If they start rambling statistics, don't get on that airplane. Zero harm is achievable. Is zero harm achievable in this situation? It looks like it's not, but it is. This individual has high emotional intelligence. They are fully trained and equipped and all, and they've done multiple attempts. They've recognized that this individual over here doesn't seem okay. Reaches out. Can we talk? He's got the sphere of influence here. This individual says nothing is fine in his head, but he's speaking otherwise. No, I'm fine. His resistance, close. He's deflecting this individual's ability to help. It is achievable. Zero harm is achievable if that individual is open. You have to seek help. Prevention is possible. The 2 spheres of influence have merged, and you've got prevention is possible. It says nothing is fine. Actually, I'm not. He does. Reciprocates this person's initiation to ask, are you okay? Is zero harm achievable in this situation? You've got somebody that needs help. You've got others in their social network that are low emotional intelligence. They are unaware of the situation. They are unaware that this individual needs help. They are stuck in their social isolation media. This person has the sense, the wherefore to go get help. They initiate action, they open up to somebody, so prevention is possible in this situation. Your 2 spheres of influence meet. Waiting and hoping is not an effective strategy. Seek help, be the initiator. Now let's look at the best and worst case scenarios. In this situation, is zero harm achievable? Yes, it is. You have prevention is possible here. You have this individual is spiritual. They have a spiritual pillar. Their mental, their physical pillars are falling, but they've reached out. They've got a social pillar here. They reached out to an individual for help. They are an initiator in this situation. Prevention is possible. In this situation is probably the worst case. Here you've got somebody, they feel abandoned. Their last pillar falls. Their spiritual component is either restricted or it's being attacked. I've been in situations where my social, physical, and mental health pillars have all been collapsing, all been falling. It's been my spiritual pillar holding up my firm foundation, my rock there. My last pillar falls in this situation. It's either the spiritual component is restricted or it's being attacked, it's being mocked, it's being ridiculed. Do not do this.
This is all obvious nonsense. This is all theological bull.
Do not mock, do not attack, do not restrict the spiritual pillar. Often it is the last pillar. The last pillar. And when it falls, this individual feels abandoned. It can be achievable in this situation had this last pillar not been restricted or attacked. Common misconceptions. It's all about mental health. That's what we hear. It's all about mental health. Everybody wants to jump on the mental health bandwagon. It's not all about mental health. It's about total comprehensive health. All pillars working together. In this situation, mental health told him to go jump off the bridge. Kevin Hines, he wrote the book, Crack Not Broken. He turned his back on social health. His dad recognized that he needed help and he turned away from the help. And then society ignored the signs. He said he was looking for signs. He said, if somebody just reaches out, I won't do this. But that failed. Social health failed. Physical health. He took the steps. He walked, his physical health walked him off the bridge. So all three components failed. It was his spiritual health that is what saved him in the end, where he's plunging to his death. He called us out to his divine Savior, his God, and that's what saved him.
As I'm falling, I said, what have I just done? I don't want to die. God, please save me. Hit the water.
Can't feel your legs.
Can't feel my legs. And so I'm bobbing down, I'm swallowing salt water, I'm spitting it out. I'm coming up, going down, spitting it out. But then I go down and I can't continue to come back up. So I keep going down further. Something begins to circle beneath me, something large. And it just circles faster and faster, faster and faster. And no longer am I wading in the water to stay afloat. I'm lying on top of my back, being kept afloat by this creature. By the way, Kevin, there was no shark like you mentioned on the show, but there was a sea lion. And the people above looking down believed it to be keeping your body afloat until the Coast Guard boat arrived behind you. I call that a miracle.
All three pillars failed him. It was practically too late. His spiritual pillar is what saved him in the end. As he was plunging down, he calls out to God, please save me. Waiting and hoping is not an effective strategy, and you need a total comprehensive fitness, a total comprehensive plan. That leads us into our total comprehensive fitness, our 4 pillars of resilience. Got our mental health component, physical, social, and spiritual. They all work together to build your total comprehensive fitness, your mental, your awareness, your adaptability, decision making, positive thinking. Get help for that, make a plan. Physical, get yourself some endurance, nutrition, recovery, and strength. And your social, family communications, connectedness, social support. And your spiritual pillar, your core values, perseverance, perspective, meaning, and purpose. All the pillars are essential and they all work together. Often the social and the spiritual pillar enhance each other. If you practice spirituality individually, you have stronger resilience. It's statistically shown if you practice spirituality in a social setting, you have even stronger resilience. So we have the Spiritual Fitness Guide. This comes from the Marines. Spiritual fitness is an essential pillar to your total comprehensive health. It is free. It doesn't have to be, but it can be associated with religion. And statistically, it is shown that practicing spirituality in a social setting enhances your resilience. Spirituality can simply mean non-physical, your mind, your thoughts, your emotion, your spirit, your energy. Depletion in one of these areas might be a signal that help is needed. Someone with a strong spiritual foundation generally remains in this green zone here. This green zone is fit. A strong spiritual core can enhance the ability to remain resilient in tough times. All those different attacks that are going to bombard you and you're going to deflect with your inside-out approach. Use the 7 potential indicators that we'll talk about on the next slide. Green is an indicator of good and strong resilience. Yellow might be an indication of to initiate corrective action, and orange and red is an indicator to seek help. Be the initiator. Green zone, your fit zone, you are stressed. In the yellow zone, orange, you are depleted, and red, you are drained. Spiritual Fitness Guide is a good tool to gauge where you are. Are you engaged in life's meaning and purpose? Or are you neglecting life's meaning and purpose? Are you hopeful about the future in life? Are you less hopeful? Make sound decisions, make poor moral decisions. Different scenarios. Are you able to forgive yourself and others? Are you respectful to others? Are you engaged in the core values? Or do you have difficulty, you're less, you're straying? If you are in the orange or red zone, seek help immediately. It's a good indicator that you need assistance. You're losing a sense of life's meaning and purpose, or you have a feeling that it has no meaning and purpose. Definitely an indicator that you need to seek help. You hold no hope about life in the future, or you're not likely to forgive yourself or others, or forgiveness is not an option. Definitely an indicator. Seek help immediately. Another thing we can do is scrap any destructive plans you might have and search for a life plan. Get yourself a life plan, create a vision, set your priorities, your values, your goals. Here's an example of what you can look at. You can also search and find better ones. But per pillar, mental, physical, social, spiritual, set your priorities, your personal and professional goals. List your values, service to others, strive for excellence, love for your neighbor or yourself. Goals, make them realistic. You might need some immediate goals, some short-term and long goals. Have an action plan. Have a plan for your obstacles, any risk, and then have a resilient response to your counters. A resilient response to your attacks. Your action plan is your first step. Maybe you need training. You need to build skills, practice education. Any obstacles that you have, document it. What's preventing you from achieving your goals? Maybe it's a bad habit. You picked up an addiction along the way. You've got some influence you need out of your life, and you need to forgive yourself or others. Your risk, identify them, assess the risk. What can you do to make a plan to counter these risks? Your resilient response. Resilient response. What is your resilient response? How are you going to overcome, navigate obstacles, mitigate the risk, have a planned response, and get help if you need it? Finally, we're getting to a better tool than what I presented to you earlier. Your attack, your counter, and your results. The better version, which I couldn't copy, is event plus response equals outcome. It is the R factor. It is from Focus 3. Definitely get in here and to YouTube and Google how E plus R equals O works with Brian Kite. It's 5 minutes. It is an essential tool you can use daily. You can also sign up for his emails. Daily Discipline with Brian Kite. It is an excellent tool, an excellent resource. In fact, the military should purchase it so we can use this. Getting close to the end here, we have our Attitude by Charles Swindoll. It's all tied together. We have a choice. We are in charge. Remember that slide, the inside-out approach. You choose how to react. You choose your counter, your response to that attack to get the optimal results. The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It is more important than past, than education, than money, than circumstances, than failures, than successes, than what other people think, say, or do. It is more important than appearance, giftedness, or skills. It will make or break a company, a church, a home. The remarkable thing is we have a choice. Yes, we have a choice every day regarding our attitude we embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play on the one string we have, and that is our attitude. I am convinced that life is 10% of what happens to me and 90% of how I react to it. And so it is with you. We are in charge of our attitudes. Yes, we are in charge. If you only have one string to play on, your attitude, play it like Brushy One String, who has 130 million views on YouTube playing his bass.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. I am a Rastaman.
We have reached the conclusion of this presentation. You are self-transcendent. You have the inside-out approach. You have control. You are self-transcendent to the outside-in assault approach. You are in control of your plan and your destiny. You have a choice. Your counter is a response to achieve optimal results. You will choose to manage your life experiences with discipline, resilience, what the doctor ordered. Finally, you will assess your spiritual health. Initiate action, get assistance, make a plan. Let's tie this in a bow with Abraham Maslow. At the end of his life, he recognized that self-actualization was not the epitome of achievement. Self-transcendence was. Transcendence refers to the very highest and most inclusive or holistic level of human consciousness, behaving and relating as ends rather than means, to oneself, to significant others, to human beings in general, and to species, to nature, and to the cosmos. This is directly tied into spiritual fitness and ties together everything that we've been talking about. Self-transcendence is essential to spiritual fitness and total comprehensive health. It is focused on the ends rather than the means. It's holding up a shield with a disciplined response to all those attacks. It is saying to all those outside sources, those bombardments, you're not in control, I deflect you, I've got this, I'm in control, I got this. One more example to the disciplined or below the line counter. Don't bring a gun to a water bottle fight. Don't be this guy. Don't bring a gun to a water bottle fight, or it might end up you in the or might jeez. One more example to the disciplined or below the line counter. Don't be this guy. Don't bring a gun to a water bottle fight, or you might end up in the slammer.